Welcome, everybody. This is Instant Customers Weekly Webinar, episode number 14. My name is Rick Gillade. I am the Senior Technical Director Support for Instant Customer, and Jean is the
other
person that actually knows how to make this work in real life and get results. So we're covering a little bit of everything. If you are brand new to Instant Customer, just keep in mind that it is the fastest, easiest way to build a list, sell books, products, services, make money, and build an intimate, authentic relationship with your prospects and customers on autopilot. I know that seems a little counterintuitive, but it is not. It is definitely doable.
And the autopilot part is the really awesome part.
Really is. You really do want to, reverse engineer your entire sales process and automate as much of it as you possibly can. You want to leverage your time, leverage your
everything.
Leverage your everything.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't gotten it yet, you can get your own copy of Instant Customer at instantcustomer.com/get secret. This is a top secret link.
I know.
Can you share it with everybody you know?
Should definitely not give it to people everybody.
Not give it to your competition. And Rick, who's Instant Customer for?
Well, the Instant Customer is definitely for smart small business owners, authors, experts, speakers, consultants,
and
service professionals. Really, it's for anybody that understands that traditional marketing methods, yellow pages, newspaper ads are really expensive and not very effective. The way to go is build your own list, give people as many different ways to come into that list as possible, give them good information, build trust, and deliver action-taking points by opportunities to your own list. It's the best bang for your buck.
And I don't know why the screens keep flickering, by the way. I was talking to Paul Colligan today, and we were just kind of noting that there's still a million businesses that don't get the value of having a list.
Big businesses. He's talking about like a major Fortune 50 company that didn't get it, that he was dealing with at an event.
Yeah, so we're not going to reveal that story. I'm sure Paul will share that one on the Mojo webinar tomorrow. But essentially, he's working with a big, giant Hollywood name, a gigantic, filthy rich corporation that was launching something without any kind of a list and full plans to have a secondary product that followed. And no list at all. No concept of even building that list and using it to market the second time.
Yeah, the amount of money they were leaving on the table by not taking advantage of their social media, of really anywhere where their product advertising marketing was in order to build that list, was really kind of sad.
Yeah. But Paul thankfully stepped in.
It's really a great illustration of, don't be afraid to go to big businesses. That's where the money is anyway. That's where you're going to get results. Even if you blow part of it, you're still, any kind of list you build for a company like that is going to pay off.
If Paul had told us that story 2 hours earlier, he'd have been my weekly hero this week. All right, so let's tell everybody what they're going to learn today.
All right. Today you're going to learn from the IC pros, Gene and myself. Today we're going to be talking about notifications. This is kind of our second part on who's hot, who's not, trying to find out, using the system to point out action takers so you can spend your valuable time closing sales.
Right.
We're going to take as many of your questions as we can that are appropriate, and I've got some special offers at the end.
You're always good like that, the special offers. So before we begin, I'd like to remind people that this webinar is being recorded, and the replay will be available from your Instant Customer inbox. And while you're here today, if you want, you can go ahead and put your questions in the question box. And if you make that question complete, you'll have a better chance of it being responded to. We're only going to take questions that are on topic.
Correct.
And if you're, like I said, we're going to skip around. So if your question is complete, meaning if you frame it within whatever it is that you're having the question on, we will definitely get to your question.
We try really hard to incorporate the questions in where they make sense.
Yes.
So we definitely appreciate it if you give us enough information so that if it doesn't make sense to answer it at this time, that we can come back to it and remember exactly what it was, so we can work it in when it makes a little more sense.
Exactly. So before we begin, if you want webinar updates, and today they were critical.
Yeah, it's a wonderful example of using the system
to our benefit.
Yeah, just using what we're talking about right now. We had a link that went out that wasn't exactly correct, and we were able
It was
to.
wrong.
And I got to say, this was, it was because of these reminders that we caught it when we did. Because, and we'll be talking about this later. This is one of the perfect examples of how you can really benefit from this. People that were getting the text message. Went to the link, it was a bad link. They texted back saying it was a bad link. Those replies are being routed to my email, which I caught, and then we fixed the link, sent it out, and we still got everybody back in by like 5 minutes after. So. Right.
So if you're not on that list, you probably wouldn't be here on this call. But if you're listening to this later and you want to be on a list, go ahead and text your name and email to 858-208-0989.
And yeah, again, there's no marketing material that go out to this. So this list is strictly for
webinar list.
Strictly for this webinar, strictly for updates and reminders for this webinar.
Right, and it's what saved us today.
Totally, 100%.
Tip of the week. I have a little hint of what it might be up there.
Those look like static tags.
Oh yeah, they are static tags. And I know we've talked about tags before. Tags make your campaigns reusable with minimal or no effort required on your part. And so I picked a specific tag that I've been using a lot that I love to death.
I love this tag as well because it's perfect for offers, for expiration dates, things like that.
So you'll find this tag in the advanced tags section, and I'll show you a little clip there on the picture. You can get the tags off to the right side of your autoresponder or broadcast message. And just go to the advanced tags and scroll down to the bottom. So the today _ weekday _ month _ day plus n lets you take a day that is X numbers of days from today, or I'm sorry, N number of days from today. And I give you a little example there. So if it's today _ weekday month day plus 10, it would take today, April 17th, add 10 days to it. And what it would print out would be, oh, I got this one wrong. It wouldn't be Tuesday, April 27th. It would be whatever day of the week.
It would be Friday.
Yeah. So that's my fault because I wasn't paying attention.
Right, but she's absolutely right. That will calculate the date first and then fill in the correct day of the week and month if you're cross months. Absolutely. Susan's asking if you could use these in text messages.
You can use these in both emails and SMS. You can use them on your lead capture page. You can use them anywhere within the system that you're printing any kind of a message that you want to adjust a date for.
Anything that the system is, any message the system itself is generating. So, when you go to a lead page, it is generating that code from your static tag. So that it should work there. It should work on a thank you page. It should work on an email. It should work on an SMS. On an SMS, the only thing to really keep in mind, a tag like this is really long. I mean, what did we got there? 20, 25 characters or so?
But remember, we're doing spanning now with SMS messages. Right. So be careful when you're putting this into your campaign that if you end up with something like December 31st, 22222, it's going to be wide, and it's going to be a lot of characters. And you may span into an additional message, so you need to be aware of that when you're making text messages. And there's one other thing I do want to stop. I don't know why this is keep blinking, Rick.
I've got some sort of.
But I do want to stop here for 1 second and address one other thing, and that is somebody's asking or mentioning in the chat box that they have questions that are off topic. If you have off topic questions, send them to support. I'm not going to answer them here in this webinar. And so I just want to make sure everybody's gotten addressed while we're at the top of the hour.
And again, support is flying. David's doing a fantastic job there. We're getting most answers same day, within 24 hours for sure.
Right.
But my point about the SMS was, you're basically going to get counted for the number of characters that are in the tag.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
So in this, I mean, in some cases, you might use a short tag that is like.
Well,
I don't know what's the short tag, like first name, and if the guy's first name is Napoleon Bonaparte or something, that's going to affect your message. In this case, the counter is going to affect it. So again, we're going to always talk about testing your messages. If you're going to use this in an SMS message, make sure you put it in and test it.
And one of the really important things here to note is, this field is constantly going to be changing size-wise. So if you're using something like this field in a text message, the beginning of the year, April, May, it's going to be really short. August, October, December, those are longer months. Those are going to be a bit problematic if you haven't considered that. And I hope everybody isn't having the same issues we're having here. Our video keeps going in and out. Can anybody just put that up in the chat box if you're having the same issue?
I'm seeing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's blinking a little bit. Okay. Don't know what's going on here. We're trying to get this set. Thanks for your response, guys. We got it. And we will repeat that number for joining the campaign at the end of the webinar, okay? So let's just get moving on. Hero of the week today is Rick912. Now, Rick, this is not our Rick. This is a different Rick. And Rick912 is the hero not because of some multi-million-dollar contract he just landed, although he may have, but because Rick912 is constantly posting things in the cafe under Lessons Learned, which is a really awesome place for people to go and learn things that others have stumbled over or struggled with. And I'm pointing it out because anybody that's brave enough to go in there and share an issue they had or a problem or a lost opportunity is a hero in my book.
I agree, and this really does highlight one of the other, and we just talked about it with the live event coming up, and that is the idea of community, of sharing ideas. There's plenty of clients out there. Everybody has something to benefit from that kind of interaction, from those lessons learned. I think that's a wonderful hero because he totally gets it. You hear a lot of marketers talk about give, get. And it really is true. People do definitely trust anybody more that's willing to come forward and share information and help each other out.
Well, we focus a lot on the people who are having lots of success, which is great and it's inspiring. But the piece that some people don't realize is that, we didn't just walk out the door one day and have amazing success. We have stumbles, we have things where it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, or crap, what I did there just lost a customer.
Right.
And as a community, if we're all sharing all of that, then it does more than just encourage and inspire people to get up and try something, but it's a learning experience for everybody. So if I stumble and fall, somebody else doesn't have to stumble in the same place.
Absolutely. You're not. If you try to do this in a vacuum, you're in trouble.
Right.
You need the support. I think the support after you fail is probably the most important thing you can get, to be encouraged to push forward and try again, learn from your mistakes, and land those contracts. It's just a fantastic job, Rick. Thank you.
So Rick912, my hero of the week.
Those Ricks.
Yeah. Rick Dilliot, you're my hero of the week. All right, so today, notifications. We subtitle this one, Who's Hot and Who's Not? Because if you don't know about the notifications, you can really use them to immediately trigger responses for something like Hot Lead.
Hot Lead, I mean, there's just a number of different ways to use them, and it will always go back to the same thing. Find your action takers. Separate your hot leads out. Go ahead. I know you probably have that on the next screen. I'm anticipating it, and I know.
So I want to talk about the basics of notifications.
Nice blocks.
The basics. So what is notification? A notification is simply a note from the system that lets you know when something's happened. Now, we're just going to tell you about some of the basics, and then Rick's going to show you how to go and set it up. But basically, you can get a notification from the system anytime your campaign has a new subscriber, a reply to a message, a hang-up, a hot lead, or like if somebody calls and leaves you a voice message. So all these things will trigger notifications. You can have multiple notifications. You can have notifications going to different people for different reasons.
That's like the best part of or one of the best parts of Instant Customer 1.5 that probably people haven't dug into enough. There are so many more options than we used to have, and to be able to split those up between different people, I'll show you how to do that and why.
Yeah, let's
really
go do that
cool.
now.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot it over to you. And now we're going to look at Rick's screen, and he's going to show us how to set up a notification.
We good?
We're good.
Yep. All right, so this is my basic Instant Customer homepage. I'm just going to go to one of my campaigns. We're not going to do anything too fancy here. I do, instead of going to the manage, I do like to just come up to the campaigns and hit the view all.
Yeah, me too.
I have to say that they've done a really fantastic job in 1.5 now of improving the search. So the search is actually really nice and fast now. So I think I have an easy start campaign in here somewhere. There it is right there. This is real time, so that's really nice. Just going to click and go to my campaign, and I'm going to edit that campaign, or my notifications are in the edit screens. So it loads up there. All right, from edit, there's actually a completely separate tab for notifications. They just kind of live on their own here. So you can see I got my campaign details, my opt-in channels, which we've gone over in the past bunch of webinars. Notifications is right down here third. One of the other great things about 1.5 is you can get notifications by email or text, which
we'll talk about that in
text we
advance.
didn't have before. So let's take a look at some of the options here, and I'll just show you kind of a basic setup of something that I've done before. Here are your options again. You've got new subscribers, replies, bounces, which would be an email bounce, which is when the email is the system tries to send an email. It hits that email address and bounces back, usually because it's wrong, it's mistyped or whatever. Hang-ups are phone calls that are hung up where people don't leave a message. Talk about that a bit. Hot leads, really interesting for two-page campaigns, and then the attached audio if you do have a campaign that relies a lot on people calling in. So the most basic thing we would usually do is send new subscribers to who, Gene? The owner of the campaign, the manager of the campaign?
Typically I send them to the campaign owner, and I often send myself one as well so that I can monitor progress. You know, for example, if my campaigns are running at a trade show, and I know the trade show starts on Saturday, if I'm not getting pinged regularly,
you know
something's wrong. Right.
So it's pretty easy. You just check whichever. Now, usually you're not going to send all of these to the campaign owner. You just want to show him results.
Yeah, and so here's where you have to be really considerate of the type of campaign you're running and how you're going to get leads into that campaign.
And who's managing it. Who owns it, who you're trying to impress, and who has to have actually actionable things to do.
Yeah, and on that note, let me just say that if this was a trade show campaign, and my trade shows are typically pulling in between 600 and 1,200 people per event, right? I'm not sure that the owner of the campaign wants to get 1,200 messages.
So that's exactly why we're talking about this. So let's say.
What I often have my customers do is set up an email address specifically for this.
That's my recommendation for sure. You set up a Gmail account that they can go check if they want to, but it's not hitting their personal email with 1,000 things over 3 days.
Or they can put somebody in charge of going to check it once a day.
Right. Yeah. So for new subscribers, you do definitely want somebody that's managing the campaign to at least get something. So really, that's all you would have to do, and then add that email. Let's take a look at a little bit more. Well,
let's talk about a couple of things here. A reply, for example. If you set up your emails or your text messages so that a response can be generated back to the campaign, you can put who gets those replies right here.
Right.
And so I would use that for maybe open-ended questions that you're doing on a interactive text campaign.
Absolutely.
You know, like, tell me about your experience dining here tonight. And that would bounce back to somebody's, maybe even somebody's phone, so they could see it away, and if there was a problem, they could show up right on the floor and go, hey, I'm sorry you're having an issue.
Excellent. So real-time feedback there.
Real-time feedback is awesome for replies.
I usually see it used in something like if you're ready to make an appointment, if you need to talk to a salesperson, if you need to talk to a rep, just reply to this text.
Awesome.
So I would usually, I usually see replies sent to like a salesperson because it really is, it's typically a call to action. It indicates somebody's more engaged in your campaign. It's somebody that if you're going to take valuable time to talk to, that's the kind of person.
Absolutely. This person is reaching out and wants contact. So this is definitely a high priority type of response.
This is what I consider a hot lead, somebody that's actively participating in your campaign and asking, responding to questions. Also, I would think hot leads obviously are going to go to a salesperson. And in this case, if somebody does fill out the second part of a 2-page opt-in, that person will get sent to whatever this email address is.
Right.
So obviously, those are hot leads. That second page is set up that way. So if somebody goes through it, in Traffic Geyser, that's the influence engine campaign was like that, so that you really didn't get notified unless somebody filled out the second part, because that's what was considered a hot lead there.
Right.
So typically these would be the ones that would go to sales, maybe even attach the audio file. If somebody does call in and leave a message.
Attach the audio file if you're having a dial-in campaign of any sort. I mean, what that will do is somebody manually looks at and listens to these audio files and translates it into text. So if you have the attached audio file and they've misheard something, you can just click the link and listen to it right there.
Absolutely. For me, the attached audio is a matter of experience. I would usually leave it off unless I saw a lot of mistakes coming through on the transcriptions. Maybe if you're dealing with a demographic that has an accent or something like that.
See, I do mine differently.
You do backwards?
Yeah, I do leave it on. And I send them only to the owner of the campaign, so that when there's a voice message left, they can listen to the message and get right back in touch. Usually somebody who dialed in has more urgent or pressing needs, or is more ready to make a sale. Right. So I want those people to be talked to immediately.
I agree. That's why I would send it to sales if you're going to send it to an owner.
Mine go, well, I work with smaller companies, so mine go to the owner.
Either way, it's really what that does. And I think that is a great service because unlike Google, which is using some sort of bizarre algorithm where you get all kind of words that don't make any sense, these are actually transcribed by real people. So the accuracy is really pretty good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Did bring up a good point. Let's say if you had a new subscriber sent to your manager, but you wanted to do it audios as well. Really, unfortunately, at this point, you'd have to delete this one, remake it, and add both of them. It is not ideal, but it's not that big a deal either.
Or you could just add another line.
I would not recommend that, but I suppose you could do that. I would try to keep everything together. Last but not least, you've got something like bounces, which I totally consider something that an admin or a tech person would need to go in, and you're gonna have to contact that person, try to get the email, or see if it's something that's easily correctable.
Oftentimes, you can see that it's a simple typo in the email address.
Exactly.
So I send these to an admin or
.xom instead of .com, something weird like that.
Yep, this is exactly how I handle it as well.
So I would think something like this would be pretty much ideal. You've got hot lead stuff going to sales. You've got some sort of notifications going to the campaign manager, so they know if something's going wrong or not. And as you go, maybe the manager, you would want to see replies as well. If you were managing a campaign, I would think that would be pretty standard, just to figure out what's going on. You always want. I just think feedback is king. You've got to listen to your clients and just give them what they want and make a lot of money and have fun. But if you don't know what they want and you're guessing, you're in trouble.
Right. So let's talk about text notifications here for a second too.
So in this case, I'm just going to hit continue. If I was done here, I could hit save and exit. I'm just going to move on to the next tab, which is text notifications. Why don't you talk a little bit about how your clients are using them? Are they overwhelmed by them? Do they not like them?
This is exactly why I wanted to talk about text messages. I recommend that you don't use them or don't use them frequently, because your customers will get overwhelmed by getting a text message every time there's activity in your campaign. And you might think it's, entertaining for a little bit, but I promise you that person will be on the phone with you within a couple hours and screaming, "Take me off."
Yeah, I think this is totally a matter of what type of item you're selling. The higher the ticket, the more your clients are going to want text notifications.
It's totally dependent on what they're selling and on what kind of a campaign it is. I'm thinking back
Correct.
again to like a trade show campaign. Oh, hell no.
No. Unless, well, I mean, I think you've done trade shows.
I don't care if you're selling yachts. You don't want 500 of these things, in the first 2 hours.
Well, but that, of course, that totally depends on what kind of campaign it is. If it's a trade show where you're selling yachts and you're giving away an iPad, no, of course you're going to get 500 people who just want the iPad or whatever.
Right.
If it's a campaign, hey, look, this is a $1 million house, send an offer if you're interested. That's a little different story.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's extreme.
I tend to handle those a little bit differently.
Of course.
Yeah. I tend to handle even those, most real estate agents have their emails being redirected to some kind of like a BlackBerry or smartphone.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
most of those, I can still hand it with the email and they'll get it right away. I don't have to send a text. Remember, text messages are short, so they're not going to get all the information.
Right, they are short, and I mean there is the standard text message charge. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's the other thing you've got to think about if you're dealing with a high ticket item where they have a bigger budget. It might be something they want. It is definitely something to make sure they know is available.
Right.
Otherwise, the email is much cheaper, and like you said, if it's going to you routing your email to your phone anyway, then there's really no difference there. I really do consider the text notifications hot leads. Something that you've put in place that if somebody replies to that, you got to get someone talking to them as soon as possible.
Sure, I agree with that.
In that case, you would just put in your number. And let's just say you routed replies there, or something like that, replies and hot leads. Again, it could be some sort of sales type thing. You always need to add it there, make sure it shows up in black. And in this case, I'm just going to hit like a little save and exit. And there you go. So that's definitely a nice little basic primer of where your notifications are, how to set them up, how to delete them. You just click the little X. And you absolutely can choose more than one box for each one.
Great. I will take control back if I can figure this out. Okay, I should be back. And you should see my... There. All right, good. So that's the basics. Talk about notifications, new subscribers, replies, hang-ups, and some hot leads. I don't know if we really got into that hot lead part so much. Rick took us on a quick tour of setting it up with multiple recipients, transcripts, and audio. And by transcripts, I just mean the email that you get that has a message with all the content in it. That you can get notifications by email or text, and we give you a word of caution about overwhelming people with too many notifications. I want to talk about some advanced concepts now, Rick. So the first advanced concept we already started to hit on, and that is managing your list.
Yeah. You
can segment your list based on activities, and I think something that we kind of skated over a little bit were hang-ups.
Yeah, it's, again, hang-ups I think also go to that super, I mean, the reason we put them in there were for clients that had super high ticket items.
Yeah.
And really, you know, if somebody hangs up, they're not a valid opt-in. You cannot send an automated message to them. But there's nothing stopping you from, it's just like getting a phone call anywhere else. You can take that, I mean, the system tracks the number. You can call back personally, dial it yourself, and talk to them.
Right. And that's the way I use it.
Yeah.
If somebody calls on a real estate campaign and hangs up, it could be that they just got distracted, or another call came in, or somebody knocked on the door, you know, whatever it is. So imagine the power of, you just started to make a call and you hung up. and a minute or two later, you get a call back from the real estate agent that says, hey, this is so-and-so real estate agent representing this property that you just called over. And I noticed that you called and you hung up, and I wondered if there's anything I can do to help you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for. I would say high-ticket items where you have somebody on staff that can call them back personally. Again, you cannot automate. You cannot send them automated messages.
Right. And the other thing that we really kind of glossed over is an unsubscribe follow-up. You probably can save some of your list if you have some sort of follow-up after somebody unsubscribes. You're like, hey, I noticed that you unsubscribed. Your unsubscription, that's not really a word, but
your unsubscription.
We have unsubscribed you. And I was just wondering if you could spend a moment and let me know why, so that I can improve my services.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, get feedback, I think, is super important. So that's one more way to get more of it.
Right. And one other thing that I think we sort of just went quickly through is hot lead. Like, a hot lead is not just somebody that's drop dead gorgeous. Right? That's a little joke. A hot lead is when you have a 2-page opt-in, and I'll explain this in a second, but if you have a 2-page opt-in, if somebody adds information to the second page,
that's what triggers it.
That triggers hot lead status.
Talked about the influence engine campaign a little bit, from if you're familiar with Traffic Geyser or Main Street Fusion at all.
But there's something else that we do here that would qualify, and that is we sometimes collect cell phone number on the thank you page. So if somebody gives you their cell phone number on the thank you page.
Thank you.
On the thank you page.
Thank you.
If someone says thank you, that's a hot lead too.
I can't believe we went there. We have a question, and actually it fits into, I think, to advanced concepts perfectly, and that's that yes, you absolutely can use the notifications there to send leads to third-party sites. So you could, if they take, oh, there it is right there. How nice is that? You're like totally psychic.
I'm on it.
You're totally psychic. That's if the third party accepts subscription via email. Not all do.
Right.
Actually, very few do. We do. I know a couple others that do. It's such a nice way to do it. You don't have to use an API. You don't have to use anything tricky. Typically, it's like mylist at whatever the company is.com.
Well, the thing here is that we're not going to help you set this one up, but if you go to your third-party system, and I know systems like Aweber take it, they will have information on how to do that. And you just plug in that email address on the notification line, and whenever you have that new subscriber, which is what you typically use it for,
that's what
they would get added to your Aweber list as well.
It works the other way too.
Yeah.
We take, and we've went through it before, we take subscription via email. You just need to set up an email address, and you can send lead notifications from wherever else to us, as long as they send email notifications. Almost everybody does. Almost everybody sends them. Very few accept them. They're just so easy, though. If you do have it, take advantage of it.
Now, we talked a little bit last week about not overwhelming people on that first registration page. We were specifically talking about webinars, but it really works with anything.
With anything.
And the reason I'm bringing this back up again is because we have a comment by Susan. It's true that if you just take the minimal amount of information on the start of your registration, you will collect and build that list. If you ask for everything, name, address, phone number, et cetera, people are going to get overwhelmed just looking at that list, and they're going to walk away. That's called an abandon. And you'll get fewer abandons if you ask just for basic stuff. Like, that's why you'll see now on the internet, most people are just getting your first name and your email address.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically talking about whether you knew, in any case, are you optimizing opt-ins, or are you trying to optimize the information you're getting?
Right.
The way you do both is to split it up. That way, you know, you have almost no barrier to entry off the bat. And then, you know, I think our numbers are right around 35% on getting the phone number on the second page. So basically, you're getting whatever you can get, but you're not
leaving them behind.
Yeah, you're not restricting the list.
If somebody puts information on the first page, they're in your list. That's it. As soon as they hit submit, they're in. Anything else you get is bonus. So if you're doing a thank you page or second page lead collection or additional data, whatever, they are a hot lead because they're interested enough to stick around for page 2 and actually give you more information.
Totally agree with that. They're a little more. They're definitely more committed, and we talk about that ethical bribe kind of theory. You're offering somebody, you're offering them something there in order to get their information, to have the privilege to contact them. Well, on the second page, you're going to up that ante a little bit. You're going to offer something a little bit more, some sort of VIP club for the phone number. Typically, what we typically do is get name and email up front. On the second page for the thank you, we say, to enter for all the drawings, to get updates, to get system, to get the changes or reminders, other bonuses, reminders. You got to give them some reason to give more information. Make sure that you have, if like for this, for our webinar here, 100%. There's no marketing that goes out to this list, so anything that you can put to lower the barrier to get more information, use any kind of managing of expectations you can do there. Right.
So those are the advanced concepts. Gosh, you know what? It's this whole the whole broken link thing today.
No, it's not.
Okay, and the system is not moving. There we go. So here's my favorite screen. Please test everything.
Yes.
And by that, what I mean is test and test.
You should probably test.
Retest.
You should probably retest it.
Just before you're ready to give it up. Test it one more time, please.
You almost should be constantly just checking it. And really, I consider all marketing test marketing anyway. So you really not only test the system, but test what you're doing. Test different phrasing or different offers. You should it's a constantly changing environment out there. You look at social media, you look at all the changes that are made. There's new programs, Pinterest or whatever the heck every day. You have to keep up on it.
Yep.
You got to manage it.
Before we get to the summary, I know we have a lot of questions today that are completely off topic, but we've got a few minutes to kill, and I'm wondering if we can maybe hit a couple of them.
Let's see. Elaine would like to know if the system provides short codes for different campaigns. We have one shared short code right now. We are looking into getting a second one, so that 58885 number is shared system-wide, just with different keywords. So the short answer to that, to the short code question, is no. There's only the one short code, but you can use it in different campaigns, just with different keywords.
Right. And so I think Elaine's probably referring to the keywords.
Okay.
And Elaine, what you have to do is, you can look this up in the FAQs on system, but you can just assign a local number in the US and pick your keyword. If it's not there, pick a different one.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that before. You can go back to your inbox and look at some of the previous webinars where we talked about short codes and keywords.
This is correct. All right. So. Wayne is asking, can we listen to audio message somewhere in the campaign under the client? You know what? I'm going to switch over to you, Rick, and you've got the system dialed up. You can just show us what you.
No,
the system.
I don't.
So right from your campaign details tab, Wayne, you can see a link for the audio.
Well, I think we're talking about a couple different things. So let's just show everything and just make it a little clearer. Right. This was where you can listen to your incoming audio greeting.
Right.
Which is when somebody calls your number, that's what they're going to hear. I think what Wayne might have been talking about, though, is there a place in here where if somebody leaves a message where you can listen to the actual message? Probably. So where that would show up, I don't have one here, but I can show you. And this is actually it'd be on the subscriber record. So I only have the one subscriber here, and I'm just going to hit the little pencil to go to their record details here, the client details. Let that load up for a sec. But really, this should typically that's on the second page of this client details report here. So you've got all their regular information here, and you've got the second tab is called Client Actions, and that is where anything like that should show up. It really should show up right here. So you've got some notes fields here, and some other actions you can do. But this information right here tells you when they were subscribed. It says the date they were added. If there's any other things that have come in, any messages, a phone message link would typically show up right there.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm also looking for, real quick, an email to show people what that email would look like if somebody did get a voice message, so that you'd be able to just relate the two. I have one. Oops, that's not it. I have one right here. Give me just a second. No, that's not it.
It just shows up as an attachment.
Yeah, I thought I had one right here on my top level email, but it looks like it got buried maybe a couple days ago.
Let's see if we can find one there for one of the future episodes.
I just wanted to show people real quick what it looks like when these notifications fire off, and how you know that one's a subscription by telephone. I got one. Okay. So I'm going to switch back.
Yeah, take it back.
And I will.
Every time it flips over, I lose all my stuff.
Okay, so here's a campaign. Here's a notification that a call came in and somebody had left a message. So you can see the campaign ID, if you have multiple campaigns, the campaign name, and then it says right here that this is subscribed by phone with voicemail. So if I were to click on this, I would go to the record, and oops, that will pause my screen, who knew? And it would show me, since it paused the screen, I'm not going to go there, because I'm not signed in. So it would show
we're
me
not seeing anything there.
The campaign and the message.
We're
you're not even seeing
We're not
it.
seeing your screen there.
Sorry, guys. Let me try this again. I don't know why. There. Now you should see it.
There we go.
So there's my message that came into the mail. Shows the campaign ID, subscriber ID, tells me that they came in by phone and they left a voice message, and I could click on that link to go and see it. Simple. I'm not going to leave you stuck in my mailbox.
Excellent. That would be bad.
All right, so voice messages, I had that set up to come in by an email, and it comes in just like a regular subscription, big long list of stuff, but it does say that it's by telephone, so you know how to respond. And are there any other questions we can handle?
Just one quick one. Somebody's asking about a white label version of the system. We do not have a white label version, but your API is totally available inside, just under the help at the top of the page. You can hire whatever programmer you want, use our API, and
No, it's a really good question, though. And Ralph was asking about that, and I think probably he's asking because of the whole notification thing. Does he want his customers to get a notification that says it's from Instant Customer? Customers won't care. If you don't want them to get that, what you could do is what I do for some of my customers, because they don't want to get emails every time this happens. They just want a monthly update. So I just go to the database and print out a export into Excel and give them a monthly update.
Excellent.
They don't want to be bothered with regular interrupting emails.
Not usually. They might maybe a little bit more at the beginning than at the end, but
yeah, they get sick of it pretty quick. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I think once you're showing results, then it becomes just a matter of timing that out to something that they're comfortable with.
Agreed. So let's go to our summary now, and we'll see if there's any other questions that come up once we summarize things.
Okay.
So as a summary, use notifications to track what's going on in your campaign. Hot leads, new subscribers, unsubscribes, bounces, etc., etc. And back to black screen again. Use different notifications for different types of follow-up.
Absolutely.
And my mouse is gone. Don't over-notify. Don't send it so much that people are screaming, because it will have a negative impact on what they perceive of what you're doing.
Now, make sure you have a good working relationship, good
Yeah.
communication with your clients. All of this, the nice thing is there's a way to make it work no matter what they want. Like we said before, you can open up a Gmail account and they can have all the notifications dumped in there and they can look at them, or they can have them sent to their phone, email, or to text. Pretty much whatever they want, you can give them. So
I agree.
find out what they want. Find out what they're missing in their system already. It's a lot of stuff that is really. It's one of those things that really can impress a client.
It does. It really does.
And that I don't think you can overrate that. I think a lot of the sales I see and a lot of the higher end sales were simply because the client was impressed with what somebody could do, especially on the fly or as quickly as we can do it.
So you know what, I got to share this. This is an awesome idea. I do use notifications on a sales presentation. So what I do is I'll set up a demo campaign before I walk in to talk to them.
I know where this is going.
And I will put that person or that owner, potential owner's phone number in as notification, and I'll have somebody else in the room join the campaign, and that person gets an immediate notification on their phone. And they are blown away every time you do that.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, they're blown away with that. So the other thing is, and I'm a big fan of this, always keep it simple.
Yeah, I think, when you have this many options, there's always a kind of desire to use everything. I go to Bruce Lee all the time on this, which is you don't have to use every single thing you know. You just have to do what's working.
Right.
There's a best way to do it. Always start simple, build up with what's working. If you try too many things at one time, you don't know what's messing it up. Start simple, then add on as you go. But you're not going to need to make it complicated, so don't overcomplicate it. Just make it work for you, make it work for your client, and get results. That's the name of the game.
It really is.
Yeah, you don't have to overdo it.
And Rick, your favorite saying?
The formula really doesn't ever change. Great campaigns really do engage people and keep them wanting more. We talked about give to get before. A lot of this kind of interactive stuff you can have fun with. I mean, I've seen a lot. I've seen people use it for contests, for getting appointments, for just about anything. There's a lot of different ways to engage people, but that is really the word. If you lose them, if they start ignoring your stuff, that's when you're done. So
engagement is absolutely the name of the game. We've talked a little before about open rates and keeping those open rates high. In the office, we've had conversations about different campaigns that have anywhere from a 2% to 50% open rate.
Seriously.
And you definitely want to be on the high end. And if you start on the high end, you expect it to drop off a little bit. But if you start to see it going from a 40% open rate to a 10% open rate, there's something going on there.
Yeah, you've got to, and the campaigns too. If your campaigns have, and a lot of, maybe we'll do that next week. We'll talk about tracking, or maybe the week after that, of some of the new stats we have where you can track your opt-ins over time.
Right.
Those kind of things are super important. I mean, if you're working a trade show, like you said, you've got the notifications coming in. If all of a sudden you see a drop-off, what is it? Is there a problem with the campaign? Did somebody take a sign down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was there a flood in the?
Well, that's a really awesome example of notifications that I actually used, and we experienced something like this one day. We had opt-ins at a trade show, and people were opting in by tablets at the booth.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a big flood of them, and then it went really quiet for an hour. And
iPad run out of power or something?
I called to find out, and actually the entire place had lost some internet connection or power or something.
Should have thought that.
And so
That's
they
exactly
scribbled everything down on paper in the meantime. But it was clearly something was wrong. After 15 minutes, I didn't see anything. I think I waited 20 minutes before I made the phone call. But my client was so impressed that I had been paying attention and that I called them to find out what was going on.
Nice. And even going with that is keeping your clients engaged. I know a lot of your trade show success is absolutely a matter of keeping your clients engaged enough to know what to do.
Absolutely.
And to give you feedback so you guys can work out stuff.
Yeah, nobody goes into a campaign unprepared when I'm working with them. That's for sure.
Great.
So we have some specials here.
We have some specials here.
What did you get today, Rick?
Well, I'm going to continue. We've talked about it a little bit today, but that cross-channel Mojo is really cool. We're just winding it up. We're coming up on the live event for that, so you can still get in on the original offering and still hit that live event. So Cross-Channel Mojo, if you're unfamiliar with it, is a comprehensive training and mentoring program using the most successful instant customer campaigns over the last year. The people that created those campaigns turn them into templates for you. They teach you how they used them, improvements that they made in them, and then you get an office hours call after that, direct Q&A. Like I said, that's a 9-module, 18-week course that's just now wrapping up the first go with it. And with that live event coming up, this is a really, really good time. If you're interested at all, go to crosschannelmojo.com/web. Check it out. If you're looking to get fast-tracked by modeling somebody who's been successful, I think this is the best way to do it. And then getting to that event.
Come to the live event and talk to those people.
Yeah, I think that's the quickest road to success.
I think so as well. So.
If you're just fine and dandy with getting leads, that's one thing. If you're having trouble getting eyeballs to your page, our sister company, Traffic Geyser, that's exactly what they do. You can get a 21-day trial at trafficgeyser.com/21days/web. They use video, blog, social media marketing in order to get leads to your page, get eyeballs onto your page. If you already have Instant Customer, that's great. You can use the two together. If you don't have either one, you can get it all at once, get an integrated version. That is Main Street Marketing Machines 2.0 Fusion. You can find out more at mainstreetmarketingmachines.com/web. So that's a full solution, getting eyeballs to your page, lead capture, lead follow-up. So the whole process of taking in somebody brand new, moving them through your sales process, and turning them from prospects into paying clients, that's the whole shebang right there.
Yeah, and it's really an awesome shebang. You got to say that.
There's a lot of shebang on that page, man.
There is. Hey, tomorrow, or rather next week, you know what we're going to do?
Why don't you tell me what we're going to do?
Next week, we're having, what happened here? Next week, we're having a template party. We're going to take you through a template from start to finish, talk about customizing it and getting the most out of it. And we're doing this with an as yet unnamed template because I think a lot of people are missing the magic in the templates. And what I really want to show is how to take a template and turn it into something completely yours.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to start doing. We've moved past a lot of the basic training. I know we've had some questions today, like on basic interactive text messaging. Just go to your Instant Customer inbox. You've got replays to all of our previous webinars. We've covered interactive text before, so please take a quick look at that. You can move through it. You don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to, but that's what the replays are for. So you can go back, catch stuff that you've missed. That way we can continue to handle new material. I think going through the templates one at a time here, especially the 21 ways. Now the 21 ways to Instant Customer templates are in everybody's campaign. They kind of highlight a different
function, usually.
A different function that we've got here.
So somebody's saying Susan likes template 11.
Susan loves template 11. Personally, I love...
we all have our personal favorites.
The Easy Start template because people tend to, we talked about it before, people tend to overcomplicate it and just get in there and get using it. And then the other ones are so much easier. Template 8 or whatever it is, I like that one too. The Marketing Without a Business Card one is fantastic. So I think we'll do a little bit more of this as we go, going through these templates and getting people to use them.
All right, so that's awesome. We will pick an awesome template and go through it next week. If you have one you really want to see,
I'll tell you what I'll do. I will do what I did before. I will use our system to get some feedback. So if
I was just going to say,
if you're on,
let's use our class campaign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to it right now so that people have that number again. I did promise I would repeat it.
Yeah, I put it in the question box, but yeah, if you can show it up real quick.
Just go back
and so what I will do is maybe on tomorrow or Thursday, I will send an email out to our list, and I will ask you, they'll give you a couple of days to go in, And really all you have to do is go to Build It, Template Gallery, and to search for the 21 ways. You can use the little filter on the left for the 21 ways to instant customers templates. Take a look through them. If you see something that interests you, when you get my email, all you have to do is respond to the email with the template you want, and maybe I can even show you how our system takes those replies and sorts them out, because I don't want to hand count them. I've got like 400 people on this.
Yeah, no, we're not going to hand count. Actually, what we're going to do is we could set it up just as an interactive campaign and collect them that way.
Could do that too.
And then we can show some of the reports.
We'll figure out something. We'll send you guys something.
So make sure you're on the campaign list, which is text your name and number text your name and email to 858-208-0989.
Well, that's it. That's it.
And we will look for a response from us asking for your favorite template. And that's the one that we'll use next week.
I love that idea, unless you veto everybody into one that you want to do.
Listen, if I pick one and say that that's the campaign winner, guess what? That's the campaign winner.
That's probably the campaign winner. All right, thank you guys very much. We enjoyed it like always. We will see you next Tuesday.
Have a good week. Yes,
have a good week.
And we promise to send the correct link, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye.